Hey guys, Gaddick Teague here with Corellian Run Radio, and in this episode of SWTOR 101, I'll be taking a look at how gear works in Star Wars The Old Republic. Let's make the jump to hyperspace and find out. First, let's take a look at the color coding system used in SWTOR. At the lowest level, there are gray or trash items and white gear. This gear gives no bonus to stats and just has armor or damage rating. When you create a new character, he will be decked out in this kind of gear, and this should be the only time you ever wear it. It's just garbage and it's outclassed as soon as you complete the first quest, so just vend the stuff as soon as you can and take the cash. The next tier of gear is colored green and blue and is the most common quest reward you will receive throughout the game. This gear will give you some bonus to your primary and secondary stats. You should be wearing mostly green and blue gear as you level up. One step above blue is purple, which provides an even bigger bonus to stats. You will occasionally find prototype purple gear as you level, but it's not common, and until you hit level cap and start gearing up for endgame, you probably won't be wearing any purple gear. Finally, where SWTOR really stands out from other games is its orange tier of gear. This gear is often referred to as moddable gear since you can actively switch item modifications in and out to change the bonus stats the gear provides. This is how SWTOR deals with allowing for character customization. Orange gear allows you to pick an outfit that you like and upgrade the stats as you gear up, as opposed to forcing you to switch gear every time you get something new. It is important to note that some of the endgame gear is purple in color, but is also moddable. For the purposes of this video, it's easier to lump these cases in with the orange gear as they behave in the same way. We'll talk more about how you upgrade this gear later on in this video. In SWTOR, each character has 12 armor slots and 2 weapon slots, which depend on your advanced class. On the right side of your character sheet, you have your headpiece or hat, chest piece or jacket, gloves, belt, lower robes or pants, and boots. And on the left side, you will see earpiece, 2 implants, bracers, and 2 relics. In the middle underneath your character portrait, you will see your 2 weapon slots, and these, like I said, depend on your advanced class. Main hand weapon is always on the left, and offhand weapon, power generator, or focus is always on the right. Of these, only the 6 slots on the right, as well as your bracers and weapon, are ever visible on your character. The rest are just stat sticks. These are also the only pieces that have orange versions available for you to customize. Now that we've talked about which gear each character can wear, let's see how you can customize your gear with item modifications. There are 6 classes of item modifications: armoring, mods, enhancements, augments, barrels, and hilts. Armorings, barrels, and hilts always have 2 stats on them: endurance and one of the other primary stats. They can be in different ratios depending on the armoring and the level, but it will only ever have these 2 stats. The stats on mods vary depending on level, but top-end mods always have endurance, 1 main stat, and 1 secondary stat. Enhancements also vary depending on level, but higher-end enhancements always have endurance and some combination of 2 secondary stats. Augments provide a small boost to 2 stats, always endurance, and 1 other primary or secondary stat. Augments are kind of a hybrid between gems and enchantments that you may be familiar with from WoW. To modify an orange piece of gear, Alt right-click on the piece of gear you want to modify, and the item modification window will open up. You can see here that this piece of gear has 3 slots that can be modified. The primary slot for any piece of armor is the armoring. Not only does the armoring provide the largest boost to primary stats, it also changes the armor value of the piece. Similarly, the barrel and hilt slot, which is the weapon analogous to the armoring, will not only change the stats of the weapon, but will also increase the base damage the weapon actually does. This makes it doubly important for you to keep up on your armorings, barrels, and hilts. All the other item modifications will only provide bonus stats and will not affect the intrinsic properties of the gear. To insert an item modification, simply click on the modification you want in the gear with the item modification window open. You can also extract the modifications from the gear by doing the reverse, and this costs some credits and can be expensive. By doing this, you can swap modifications in and out as you want, albeit at a price. A few pieces stray away from the armoring mod enhancement mold, namely bracers and belt. There are no purple moddable bracers or belts. Instead, players can only get moddable bracers or belts from crafters or from certain cosmetic gear vendors. Bracers and belt also do not have an enhancement slot, and thus can only be outfitted with an armoring and mod. Even with these restrictions, the moddable bracers and belt almost always have better stats than the purple ones you can get, so get these as soon as you can. Other than the base modifications that can be done with gear, every piece of equipment can be outfitted with an augment slot. This can be done in one of two ways: get a crit crafted item, or by using an item modification kit. Most commonly, you'll be using an item modification kit at a modification table like the one you see here, located in the crew skills area of the fleet. You can click here and you'll see a drop down of all the items you have available to augment. Once you select an item, at the bottom you'll see an Add Augment Slot button. Clicking this will allow you to select which kind of augment slot you want to add to the item. The higher the MK number, the better augment you will be able to add to your gear. It costs 30,000 credits to add a top level augment to your gear, but it costs less to add lower level slots. Once the slot is added, you can put the augment into your gear the same way you put other item modifications into your gear. For augments, it's usually best to put one kind of augment in all of your gear, usually power or main stat. For endgame PvE and PvP, it's expected that all your gear will be augmented to its fullest, so you don't want to drag down your team, so you'll have to shell out the cash to put augments in all your slots. So that was an in-depth look at the gear system in the Old Republic. This has been Gaddock Teague with Corellian Run Radio. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time with more SWTOR 101.